Hello everyone. After making a list of the best modern S-tier Metroidvania games, let's go one step further and focus on modern Metroidvania games with a retro style. These games look like old school classics, but they're built with modern design and better quality of life features. This list is made for retro fans who want that nostalgic vibe without giving up modern comfort. Well, let's get into the list. Turbo Kid is a direct sequel of the movie with the same name, and it perfectly captures the movie's humor, style, and world. What really makes Turbo Kid special are three things: the characters, the story, and of course, the bike. In this game, you can summon or put away your bike anytime you want, which makes moving around the map super fast and super fun. Secondly, it's rare for a 2D Metroidvania to make me care about the hero and their friends, but Turbo Kid does it perfectly. You learn more about the game's world through short conversations and the kids' own notes about places and people. They're optional, but together, they build a story that's actually meaningful and engaging. Chronicles of the Wolf is a full love letter to old-school Castlevania, especially Symphony of the Night. Right from the start, the game shows how much it loves Castlevania. The narrator is voiced by the same actor who played Alucard in Symphony of the Night, and the music is spooky, dramatic, and very retro. On top of that, the gameplay will feel instantly familiar if you've played Castlevania before. You attack with your main weapon and use sub-weapons by holding up and attacking. One unique feature is the ghost allies. These ghosts work like magic spells. They can heal you, boost your attack, or even make you invincible for a short time. It's a cool idea, but they use a lot of magic power. Pampas and Selene is an 8-bit style Metroidvania made by the same developer who created Unmetal and Ghost 1.0. It's designed as an unofficial sequel to The Maze of Gallius, a classic by Konami that inspired games like Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest and later La Mulana. In this game, you control two characters, the children of the heroes from the original story. Each one has different abilities, and you can switch between them at any time. If you play in co-op, both characters are controlled together, making it feel like a shared adventure. Overall, this is a compact and enjoyable Metroidvania that you could finish in a weekend or even in a single day. For its price and its classic design, it's definitely worth checking out. Guns of Fury is a Metroidvania that proudly shows its inspiration from the very first second. The visuals and music clearly take after Metal Slug, and the opening scene feels just like Contra hardcore. Just as expected, the true star of the show is the run-and-gun combat. Just like Metal Slug, every screen is packed with destructible objects. Explosions, smoke, debris, and chaos fill the screen, and it feels incredibly satisfying. And these objects aren't just for show, they actually help you in combat. Breakable platforms can crush enemies beneath them, electric boxes can shock them on contact, and steam valves can burn them alive, making the environment itself a weapon in every battle. Zexion is an awesome retro sci-fi Metroidvania game inspired by the classic Metroid series. It has beautiful pixel art, a fantastic soundtrack, and challenging but fun gameplay with modern controls. Some players say it's too hard, but I think it's tough in a fair way. Furthermore, the world is big, well-designed, and easy to remember despite its size. Each area feels unique, and the world building is amazing. The planet feels like a battlefield between different groups, and sometimes they even appear during boss fights. And the boss fights, they are one of the best parts of the game. Expect multi-phase battles, surprise twists, and really creative designs. They are hard, but incredibly satisfying to beat. Gato Roboto is a small but charming Metroidvania that does way more than you expect. Even though the game is only black and white, the pixel art is so expressive that you never feel like anything is missing. Every room, enemy, and animation is full of personality. The game is short, taking about 3 to 5 hours to finish, but that's actually one of its strengths. It respects your time. Every upgrade feels useful, not just like a small stat boost. On top of that, the mix between being a cat and using a mech suit is really fun, even if the cat-only sections could have been used more. And yes, there is a dedicated meow button, which honestly should be mandatory in every game. Pipistrello and the Cursed Yoyo is not just a fun game, it's one of the most authentic Game Boy Advance style games ever made. The controls are tight, the pixel art looks amazing, and the soundtrack feels like it came straight from the GBA era. You can even turn on a simulated LCD screen filter, which makes it feel like you're playing on real retro hardware. In this game, the yo-yo is your main tool, and it's used for everything from combat to movement. You don't just unlock new yo-yo abilities, you have to master them. You'll combine different skills, solve clever movement puzzles, and rely on quick reflexes to move forward. It feels just as much like a puzzle game as it does an action game, and pulling off those tricky moves is incredibly satisfying. Shantae Advance Risky Revolution is a brand new Shantae game with a very surprising history. Even though it released in 2025, this game was actually being made for the Game Boy Advance back in 2002. It was meant to be the second Shantae game, but it was canceled because the studio couldn't find a publisher. Fast forward more than 20 years later, WayForward brought this lost game back to life with help from Limited Run Games. Now it's available not only on GBA cartridges, but also on modern platforms like Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. The gameplay is classic Shantae. You attack with Shantae's hair whip and use dance transformations to solve puzzles and reach new areas. The Messenger is a game with so much to love. It's a fast 2D Metroidvania with beautiful pixel art that switches between 8-bit and 16-bit styles. It has funny dialogue, a charming sense of humor, and one of the best chiptune soundtracks you'll ever hear. The game starts as a classic action platformer inspired by Ninja Gaiden. You run, jump, and slash enemies with tight and responsive controls. As you unlock new abilities, the gameplay becomes faster and more exciting. The main mechanic is called cloud stepping. Instead of a normal double jump, you jump again by hitting enemies or objects with your sword. This turns enemies and even their projectiles into stepping stones. At first it's tricky, but once it clicks, you feel like a true ninja master. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore, is proudly based on the old CDI Zelda games, and it doesn't hide it at all. The names, the art, the jokes, everything screams CDI energy. If you know, you know. And it's amazing. For those who don't know, the CDI Zelda games were strange 2D platformers. They had weird controls, awkward hitboxes, funny cutscenes, instant death pits, and lots of backtracking. They were messy, but memorable. This game is designed to feel exactly like that. And honestly, it nails it. Gameplay-wise, it relies on classic platforming tricks, like jumping past platforms or avoiding traps in weird ways. It's challenging and rewarding. Honestly, this game beats me up harder than my parents. While light in its Metroidvania elements, Shinobi Art of Vengeance is a fast, stylish action platformer that feels modern while staying true to its ninja roots. Each stage is mostly linear, but opens up with side paths like a light Metroidvania. Explore more and you'll find upgrades, relics, and new weapons. From the first minute, the controls feel smooth and precise. Running, jumping, and fighting just feels right. Combat is all about combos and skill. You can customize your build with special ninja powers called Ninpo and powerful amulets. You'll slash through soldiers, rival ninjas, and supernatural monsters, fill their execution gauge, then finish them with a brutal final strike. Astalon Tears of the Earth is one of those retro Metroidvania games that feels like it came straight from the NES era, but with modern ideas mixed in. The entire game takes place inside one huge tower made of hundreds of small rooms. Each room is like a little challenge on its own, and the camera slides smoothly from one to the next, so the action never slows down. You control 3 different characters, and each one plays in a unique way. The knight fights with a sword and breaks through certain barriers. The mage shoots magic through walls and activates special switches. The archer fires arrows and can jump up walls to reach higher places. Some areas can only be explored with a certain character, but you can switch between them at campfires where you also save and rest. Infernax feels like a love letter to classic games like Castlevania 2. The game wastes no time showing you what kind of game it is. In the first 10 minutes, you are forced to choose whether to kill or spare someone who begs for death. You will make a choice that sets the tone for the entire adventure because Infernax constantly asks you to decide between mercy and violence, and your choices shape your journey. The combat starts off simple with just a mace, but slowly grows as you unlock spells, armor, and weapons. By the end, you have powerful magic like shields, healing spells, and holy attacks that can strike enemies from far away. Watching your character grow stronger feels great, even if most weapons still play the same and mainly just hit harder. Wonder Boy. The Dragon's Trap is a remake of a classic Sega Master System title from 1989, and it was rebuilt by the indie studio Lizard Cube. They didn't just remake it, they completely transformed it. The art style looks like a colorful fantasy storybook, almost like something from a children's adventure cartoon. At its core, the game is a Metroidvania with light RPG elements. You explore different areas, fight enemies, and collect weapons and armor that change your stats. But the most unique part of the game is shapeshifting. Your character is cursed and turned into different animal forms, and each form has special abilities that change how you play. Castlevania Dominus Collection brings together 3 classic games: Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia. And instead of feeling like copies of the same game, each one has its own style and ideas. They experiment, take risks, and still feel great to play even today. The collection itself is packed with extra love. You get soundtracks, art galleries, and even a remake of the old arcade game Haunted Castle. There are also modern features like Rewind and Quick Save, which makes these tough games much easier to enjoy. Sure, each game has a few small flaws, but when you look at the collection as a whole, it clearly shows why Castlevania is still one of the kings of the Metroidvania genre. That's all for today's list. Subscribe and like for more new, exciting Metroidvania games. That's it, and see you next time.